Good evening, dear friends. Welcome once again to Midnight Historian. If you're here, perhaps you're ready to let the world outside grow quiet, to rest your thoughts, and to sink into a gentle story before sleep. If you enjoy these midnight journeys into the past, remember to subscribe and share in the comments what places and stories you'd love to wander through next. Tonight, let us travel to a city unlike any other, a place where history and myth are folded together like layers of mist and stone. Tonight, we walk softly through the streets of Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland.
Imagine, if you will, the city as twilight falls. The air is cool and damp, carrying the faint scent of rain-soaked stone. The last glow of the sun fades over distant hills, leaving a silver light that clings to the edges of rooftops and church spires. The cobblestones of the Royal Mile glisten under lamplight, and shadows stretch long through narrow closes, those hidden alleyways that twist and descend like veins through the old town. High above it all, the great castle looms upon its black volcanic crag, its silhouette cut sharply against the darkening sky. For centuries it has stood there, a sentinel over the city, a keeper of secrets, watching silently as countless generations have passed. Edinburgh is a city that remembers. It remembers kings and queens, battles and rebellions, poets and dreamers, and it remembers whispers of things less easily explained, footsteps in locked chambers, flickers of light in abandoned vaults, the gentle cry of a faithful dog, the restless stirring of an ancient dragon said to sleep beneath the hills. And so tonight, we will not hurry. We will drift slowly through these memories as though we are walking hand in hand with time itself. Let us begin at the castle. Perched upon its rock, the fortress has seen more than 1,000 years of human story. Long before the walls of stone were built, the rock itself was sacred ground. In the 6th century, warriors of the Gagodin tribe held their stronghold here, calling it Din Eden, the fort on the hill. From that old name, the word Edinburgh was born. Through the centuries, the castle has been a royal palace, a prison, an armory, and a treasury. And within its walls once lay a relic that carried the hopes of a nation, the Stone of Destiny.
This ancient block of sandstone was said to have traveled from distant lands, brought by wanderers or saints, its origin wrapped in legend. For centuries, it was placed beneath the coronation chair of Scottish kings, so that whoever sat upon it was bound to rule the land. Some whispered that the stone would cry out if a false king dared sit upon it. Others believed it held the blessing of heaven itself. When Edward I of England seized the stone in the late 13th century, carrying it away to Westminster Abbey, it was as though Scotland's soul had been stolen. And yet, in time, the stone was returned, and now it rests once more in Edinburgh, silent but heavy with memory, as though it still listens to the footsteps of kings and queens who have long since faded into dust. From the castle, let us walk down the Royal Mile, the great spine of the old city. Narrow alleys branch away from it, closes they are called, each with a story, each with echoes of laughter, sorrow, or whispered fear. Beneath our feet lies one of the strangest, Mary King's Close. Once a bustling neighborhood, it was buried beneath new buildings in the 17th century, sealed off and forgotten. In those days, plague swept through Edinburgh like a dark tide. Whole households were shuttered behind doors, and some tales claim they were left to perish, locked in with their sickness. To wander the close today is to step into a pocket of frozen time. The rooms are still there, with hearths and beds, though the families are long gone. Some visitors swear they feel a hand slip into theirs, small and childlike, or hear a faint rustle in the dark. But tonight we will not speak of fear. Instead, let us imagine those families as they truly were: merchants and mothers, children playing by candlelight, neighbors calling to one another from across the narrow street. Even in darkness, life once glowed here, and if the close holds any spirits, perhaps they linger not in anger, but in longing for the laughter that once filled these stones. Farther down the mile, we come to Greyfriars Kirkyard, a resting place of many souls, where carved stones lean with age and moss covers names almost forgotten. Among them is one grave that still brings tenderness to the heart. It is the story of Greyfriars Bobby, a small Skye terrier who belonged to a night watchman named John Grey. When his master passed away in 1858, Bobby refused to leave his grave. Through snow and rain, through the turning of seasons, the little dog kept his vigil. The townsfolk brought him scraps of food and built him a shelter. For 14 years he remained, loyal beyond understanding, until at last he too was laid to rest near his master. To this day, a statue of Bobby sits by the graveyard gate, his nose shiny from the touch of countless hands. In the quiet night, as you drift closer to sleep, imagine that small dog keeping watch, a gentle guardian of memory, reminding us that love endures even death.
But not all tales of Edinburgh are so gentle. Some belong to men whose lives split between light and shadow. William Brodie was one such man. By daylight, he was a respected cabinet maker, a craftsman of fine furniture for the wealthy. But in the hush of night, he lived another life entirely. With keys he had copied, he slipped into the homes of those he served, stealing what he could. His charm kept suspicion at bay for a time, but eventually his secrets unraveled, and he met his end on the gallows in the Grassmarket. Yet his story did not die there. Years later, a young writer named Robert Louis Stevenson, who had heard Brodie's tales since childhood, wove it into a new story, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And so, the man who once haunted Edinburgh's nights still walks its streets in the form of literature, a shadow of the human heart, given shape. Beyond the crowded closes and markets, another presence rises above the city, Arthur's Seat. This green hill, in truth an ancient volcano, has long been wrapped in myth. Some say it was once a dragon, fierce and hungry, that terrorized the land. It devoured cattle and villages, until at last, heavy with its feast, it lay down and fell into eternal sleep. Over centuries, earth and grass covered its body, and it became the hill we see today. From its slopes, one can gaze across the whole city, the castle perched like a crown, the Firth of Forth stretching silver in the distance. On summer evenings, lovers climb its paths to watch the sunset, and children run in the grass. Perhaps, if you listen closely, you can still hear the slow breathing of the dragon beneath the ground, dreaming away the centuries, peaceful at last. Yet Edinburgh has darker dreams as well. In the late 16th century, fear of witchcraft swept through the land. At North Berwick, just along the coast, Dozens of women, and some men, were accused of summoning storms to wreck the ship of King James VI. Under torture, they confessed to impossible deeds, flying through the night, meeting with the devil in dark kirks. The trials ended in flames, and the city was scarred with fear and suspicion. Historians tell us it was hysteria, born of politics and terror. But tonight, in the gentleness of storytelling, let us not remember them as monsters, but as neighbors, mothers, daughters, healers, caught in a storm of misunderstanding. Their voices are gone, yet the memory of their suffering still whispers through the stones.
The 18th century brought another kind of storm. In 1745, a young prince named Charles Edward Stuart, known to history as Bonnie Prince Charlie, rode into Edinburgh. Handsome and bold, he carried the hopes of the Jacobite cause, the dream of restoring his family to the throne of Britain. The city welcomed him with cheers, and for a time he held court at Holyrood Palace. But the castle above never opened its gates, and the dream could not last. Within a year, it all ended at Culloden in blood and sorrow. Yet Edinburgh remembers his arrival as a moment of bright flame, a spark of hope, brief but brilliant, that lit the city's heart before fading into night. Through centuries, Edinburgh has been a city of ink as well as stone. Poets and writers have walked its streets, listening to the whispers of closes and the sigh of the wind over Arthur's Seat. Robert Burns, Scotland's bard, found welcome here. Sir Walter Scott built his legacy from tales of Highland clans and border knights. Stevenson dreamed of pirates and monsters. J.K. Rowling, in later days, looked out over the rooftops of the old town and sketched the boy who lived. The city itself is a book, each page written in cobblestone and shadow, each chapter turned by the passage of centuries. And so, as the night deepens, let us leave Edinburgh with quiet steps. We have walked its castle halls and underground streets, its graveyards and markets, its hills and myths. We have remembered kings and dogs, thieves and poets, witches and dreamers. Each story a thread woven together into the great tapestry of the city. Now, dear listener, let the images fade gently from your mind. Picture the castle in the mist, standing silent as the stars begin to fade. Picture the dog resting by his master's side. Picture the dragon sleeping beneath the green hill. Breathe softly, slowly, as the city settles into silence. Edinburgh is a place of memory, but tonight it is a lullaby. Let it cradle you into rest, into dreams as soft as mist. Good night, my friend. Sleep well, and may the legends of Edinburgh guard your slumber until we meet again.